Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's David Sherry. This is Business Therapy. Let's talk about how to use ADHD so it doesn't use you. Now, when I was growing up in school, ADHD would be seen as something that you need to treat. It was something that you needed to control. But I've evolved my working style to match my learning and my doing style, which just happens to be labeled as this thing that people call ADHD. Now, luckily, on the internet, having some ADHD can actually be an advantage. The ability to connect dots, to follow threads, to go down paths of your curiosity, and to be able to absorb a lot of information. All of this is generally a benefit in an information rich world. Although it can also be a huge hindrance if you don't know exactly how to work with that in yourself. And of course, we're in this ever growing battle against the algorithms. And if you thought that TikTok was addicting, just wait until what comes next, because with AI, we're only going to increase the amount of personalization and the addictiveness of these different platforms. So working with your ADHD means figuring out how to leverage this as a skill for yourself without the drawbacks. So here are some things that have worked for me. The first is that understanding that completing something is all about momentum. If you get interrupted, it's unlikely that you'll finish the task. It's difficult to finish the task. So the best thing you can do is scope out work that is a small enough unit of work that it will get done in that one working session. If you leave something as an open loop, it's likely to remain open. So Kaizen or small steps is the best approach. Make your goals smaller and ship them even if they're not perfect. The second is coffee and caffeine can be used strategically, but you don't want to burn yourself out. A well-timed cup of coffee, a well-timed tea can really help boost your focus. But if you're not cautious about overdoing it with the caffeine, it can have some drawbacks. Now, for me in particular, what I noticed was if I had too much caffeine, it would work for a little bit and then it would have some drawbacks. I would actually start to burn out. So for me personally, adding some fats to my coffee, adding some protein, having some sugars, and well-timed snacks and meals around the caffeine, not just being fasted, helped me have a longer duration of focus throughout the day without the crash. Number 3 is always keep pen and paper handy. Pen and paper slow you down when you need to be slowed down, because as you're ramping up with the momentum and you're getting excited and you're getting into all of your work, pen and paper bring you back to organizing your thoughts. You can jot little notes down in different parts of the paper. You can reconnect to what it is that you're working on. And it's great to start with a pen and paper as well, which you can often use before you get into work, again, to slow down the momentum, to bring you back to center, and to help you figure out what you want to focus on next. So number 4 is take as many notes as you can. A great strategy for someone who feels distracted or ADHD is that you can constantly take notes to yourself during the day. This allows you to check in with how you're feeling. It allows you to remember what it is that you're learning or what you're actually doing. And it orients you back into where am I at again? It brings you back to center. And I like to use a digital app called Dailyo, which actually allows me to check in with myself, with what my energy level is, with what I'm doing. And so I use that app maybe 8 to 10 times a day just to check in and see for myself, where am I at right now? What am I working on? Where is my energy at? And it's a great way to pause and reflect. Number 5 is to use multiple site blockers, distraction blockers. I like to use Opal on my phone. I like to use Freedom on my computer, and 1 or 2 others. And if it sounds like overkill to use multiple of these blockers, remember there are thousands of people who are working 60 hours a week to try and make their application, their products more addicting. So we need multiple defenses for all the different products that we continually get sucked into when it comes to distraction. Number 6, and this is an interesting one, timers and time limits are great. So Focus, To Do, or Pomodoro, they work because they give you a time box for your action. And this forces you to complete the task in a specific window rather than stretching past that time and then getting distracted onto a new task. So I really like using Focus to Do or Pomodoro. There's tons of apps for this. You can buy a physical clock if that works for you. It also serves as a forcing function for selecting what am I going to do before I start this timer. And because ADHD is actually a hyper focus, it's not a distractedness. It's actually I hyper focus into something. The timer alerts you that the time is up and it brings you back from getting too hyper focused on any given task. Number 7 is align your circadian rhythm to your peak energy. Do you know what point in the day you have the most energy? When are you most creative? Note for yourself the hours, the parts of the day that you feel most high energy and most creative, and then try and align your priorities that relate to that type of energy with that time. So for me, I'm very creative at 9 a.m. So what type of creative work can I do at 9 a.m. on the dot with that fresh cup of coffee? Number 8 is avoid labels. I personally prefer to avoid labeling myself as ADHD or getting overly identified with that label, because I believe that sometimes when we hold on to that too strongly, we can start buying into it so much that we don't see that each one of us individuals on this earth has a completely different learning style, a completely different productivity style, and it can put us into a box that we don't need to be in. So yes, maybe it can be helpful to understand something about yourself and learn, hey, this is something maybe I have. However, if we overly attach the identity, it can also be very limiting. My last tip, number 9, which I've linked below, is a great playlist always helps. Here's a DJ I've been listening to recently. And let me know, what do you think? What has helped you really be productive and use this superpower to your advantage? How has it held you back? Where have you struggled? Feel free to leave a comment below. I'll be back again with another video like this very soon. Later.